My wife told me the family business was bankrupt and she wanted a divorce. She said she didn't want to drag our son and me down with her. But late at night, I heard her on the phone with another man. Baby, I told that fool we're bankrupt. I can divorce him any day now. Once I dump him and his kid, I can finally marry you and make things official for you and Christina. I had to laugh. It was clear she didn't know her company really was bankrupt, to the tune of hundreds of millions. If she wanted to divorce me to shoulder the debt all by herself, well, my son and I were happy to let her. It'd be a lie to say it didn't sting, looking at the bankruptcy papers that had just landed in my hands. I sat down on the steps and took a long, deep breath. Should I tell my wife the truth or not? The company was a legacy from her parents, meant to secure her future. They had even begged me to liquidate our family investments to bail the company out back in the day, and I did it without a second thought. So I had poured my own blood, sweat, and tears into this business. My wife has zero business sense. I was the one who handled everything. She never even set foot in the office, just assumed everything was running smoothly. There was no way she could handle the news that it had all suddenly collapsed. After thinking it over, I gritted my teeth and pulled out my phone. Whatever. Worst case, we'd just make the money back and pay off the loans together. We were family after all. I was just about to call her when a text from her came through first. Leo, come home now. I need to talk to you about something important. Talk about what? Could she already know the company went under? Terrified she might do something drastic, I grabbed a cab and rushed home. The second I walked through the door, my wife, Jessica, came up to me. She hesitated for a long moment before finally handing me her phone. On the screen was the news about the company's bankruptcy and its massive debt. My mind was racing. I couldn't believe she already knew. Honey, I was about to tell her not to worry, that we'd get through it. But she sighed and pulled a set of divorce papers from a nearby drawer. Leo, the company's bankrupt, and we owe $100 million. I can't drag you and our son down with me. I'll probably never be able to pay back this much money in my lifetime. Sticking with me would just mean misery for you and Alex. It's better if we just get a divorce now so you two can be free. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My hand trembled as I took the papers from her. Jessica, we can still save this. If we work together, we can definitely pay off this debt. I can't let you take responsibility for this all by yourself. I shook my head, a part of me genuinely touched. After all, facing a disaster this huge, a bankrupt company and massive debt, she was willing to bear it all alone. As her husband, the man who had been through thick and thin with her, there was no way I could let her go through this by herself. I snatched the divorce papers from her hand and ripped them to shreds. I looked her straight in the eye and said, word by word, Jessica, we're a team. I'm not letting you do this alone. Jessica glanced at the pieces on the floor, a flicker of irritation in her eyes that was gone as quickly as it appeared. When she looked up again, she just sighed. Why are you making this so difficult? She must really love me. Ever since she found out about the bankruptcy, all she could think about was divorcing me. It started as her wanting what's best for me, but it was slowly turning into impatience. Leo, why are you being so clingy? I told you, the company is bankrupt. We're deep in debt. Why do you insist on staying with me through this? I felt a pang of hurt, but mostly, I was just moved. She was really doing this for my own good, trying not to ruin my life. But how could I do something so dishonorable? I refused her again and again. I even reached out to her best friend, Sarah, to help me talk some sense into her. Sarah was Jessica's college roommate. They were as thick as thieves. She was the one who had helped Jessica come up with a plan to ask me out, just so her best friend could be happy. I was sure that with a bond that strong, Jessica would listen to what Sarah had to say. And Sarah did talk to her. She told Jessica not to be impulsive, that divorce wasn't a game. But for some reason, just one day later, Sarah completely changed her tune and started trying to convince me. Leo, Jessica has a point. Maybe you should just get the divorce. It's not fair to you or your son. Jessica nodded along beside her. See, Leo? Did you hear that? A divorce is the best thing for you right now. I stared at Sarah in disbelief. She had been so supportive when Jessica and I first got together, and she was dead set against the divorce when she first heard about it. Why was she suddenly pushing us to split up? Sarah just lowered her head, avoiding my gaze. I need some time to think, I said. That night, the sound of a closing door woke me up. I realized Jessica wasn't in bed next to me. I could hear a woman's voice coming from the living room balcony. Who was she talking to in the middle of the night? I slipped on my slippers, crept to the door, and listened carefully. On the other end of the line was a man's deep, magnetic voice. In the dead of night, their conversation carried clearly to my ears. Baby, it's almost time. Don't be impatient. I told that fool my family's company went bankrupt. He'll take his little baggage with him, and then our family can finally be together. I'll be able to marry you soon, and then I can give you and Christina the life you deserve. I can't stand him anymore. He's a total bore, no romance in him. How could he ever compare to you? I heard the man on the other end chuckle. You're the best. It was July, but a chill ran through me that felt colder than any winter. So, this whole story about the company being bankrupt was just a lie to get rid of me and move her lover in? My heart dropped, and a cold sweat broke out on my palms. My wife of 7 years, the woman I'd built a life with, was now making up a story about bankruptcy just to force me into a divorce. Also, she could welcome her lover into our home. And she even managed to paint herself as a selfless hero who couldn't bear to see her husband and son suffer. Babe, Christina wants the newest iPad, and I've had my eye on a limited edition watch. Buy it. Of course. My baby can have whatever she wants. When we divorce, I'll make that idiot leave the entire company to me. You can have anything you desire. With a flick of her thumb, Jessica tapped her phone a couple of times, and just like that, $5,000 was gone. I thought back to when her parents begged me to use our savings to keep the company afloat, the investment that led to its later success. They never showed any intention of paying me back. I never asked for it either. I figured we were all family. I remembered all the booze I'd had to drink, all the asses I'd had to kiss, just to close a deal worth $5,000. And now she just sent it to another man without a second thought. Seeing how easily she threw that money around, I could only imagine this wasn't the first time. A surge of rage boiled up inside me. I worked my ass off every single day, dragging that failing company back from the brink and keeping it alive. Meanwhile, she was at home, living it up with my money, even supporting a lover and their love child on the side, living her best life. All she cared about was getting her hands on the cash. She couldn't care less about the company itself. Well, if that was her dream, I was more than happy to help make it come true. The next time Jessica brought up the divorce papers, I didn't fight her. I just signed my name. Now it was her turn to be confused. Why are you suddenly willing to sign? I ducked my head and pinched my thigh hard enough to bring tears to my eyes. I looked up at her, my vision blurry. Honey, I know you're doing all of this for me and Alex. I thought about it all last night, and we can't let your sacrifice be for nothing. Hearing my explanation, Jessica could barely contain a triumphant smirk, but she managed to just nod. I'm glad you understand. Honey, what about the company's debt? I asked, biting my lip and looking at her helplessly. She waved her hand dismissively. I'll take care of the debt. I can't have you leaving this marriage saddled with that. Just focus on raising our son. I sneered internally but kept a look of pure gratitude on my face. Jessica, you're too good to me. But all the money I had from before we were married, I invested it all in the company. I don't have anything left. Where will Alex and I live after the divorce? You can have the house, Jessica said, a note of panic in her voice, as if she was afraid I'd back out. How could I let you and our son be homeless? Don't worry, the house is yours. She thought for another moment, then pulled 2 more contracts out of the drawer. One was a company transfer agreement, the other was a deed gifting the house to me, with my name already on it. Honey, sign these first. I never expected her to be so prepared. It was clear she'd been planning this for a long time. I feigned reluctance, my hand trembling as I signed my name on every line. On the inside, I was practically screaming with joy. After the divorce, I get our amazing son. The bankrupt company with its mountain of debt is no longer my problem, and I walk away with a house. Who wouldn't be happy? Honey, don't you worry. I won't let a bankrupt company and its debts drag you and our son down, Jessica said, holding my hand. It was impossible to tell if she was being sincere. All I felt was disgust, and I slowly pulled my hand away. If I hadn't overheard her phone call last night, I would have been completely fooled by this act. The way she talked so intimately to her lover, the way she called our son baggage. She was probably still lost in her fantasy of taking over the company and living happily ever after with the man she loved. I just wonder if she'll still be smiling when she finds out the company really is bankrupt. Even though I was thrilled to be divorcing a cheater like Jessica, I had to consider our son's feelings. Alex is only 6, an age where he's completely dependent on his parents. I couldn't just ignore his needs, so I suggested one last family outing, a sort of farewell trip. Of course, Jessica agreed. The divorce was final, and she'd gotten what she wanted. What was one small request? I didn't tell Alex about the divorce, and Jessica, by unspoken agreement, didn't either. Alex was ecstatic when he heard that Mom and Dad were going to spend the day with him. He dragged us to the amusement park he'd always wanted to visit. To be honest, I felt a deep sense of guilt about this. Ever since he was born, I was rarely home. I was always busy with the company, and I hardly spent any time with him. And Jessica was never the maternal type, so her parents looked after Alex when he was a baby. He only came to live with us after they passed away. I still remember when he was in kindergarten. His teacher asked to speak with me. She sighed, a look of helplessness on her face. Mr. Davis, I know you and Alex's mom are busy, but you need to pay attention to his emotional well-being. She showed me a drawing. It was a picture of a man, a woman, and a little boy at an amusement park. But for some reason, the entire picture was scribbled over with black lines, and a giant, black frowny face was drawn over it. Alex drew this. I don't know what's going on at home, but I hope you can find more time to spend with him. During that time, I was working myself to the bone, and Jessica, she was probably busy with her lover and his daughter. I owed my son so much. If it weren't for this divorce, she probably wouldn't have bothered spending any time with him at all. When we told him we were taking him to the amusement park, Alex clutched my hand timidly. Are Mommy and Daddy both coming with me? I nodded and glanced over at Jessica. There wasn't a trace of joy on her face, only relief that she would soon be free of us. Maybe she wanted to maintain the image of a good mother in her son's eyes, or maybe she felt a shred of guilt. Whatever the reason, Jessica offered to pay for everything. Of course, the money came from a loan she'd taken out. I didn't hold back on spending it. After all, if I didn't use it, her lover and his kid would. But it was clear she genuinely didn't like our son. She was cold to us the entire time. She just stared at her phone, constantly texting and smiling to herself. Ugh, he insisted I come to this amusement park with him and the kid. Just have to bear it a little longer. Next time, I'll bring Christina, and we can stay as long as we want. Oh, I just can't wait to bring you and Christina home, she muttered into her phone, glancing up at me every so often. We spent 2 days at the park, and Jessica never once cracked a smile in front of me or Alex. But when it was time to go home, she was grinning from ear to ear. Even though Alex is young, I know he's smart. He probably sensed something was wrong with his mom, but he didn't ask any questions. Back home, a call from the bank about the debt came through to Jessica's phone. She was in the middle of packing her things to leave. When she answered and heard who it was, she seemed confused. My heart skipped a beat. Damn it. When I first found out about the debt, I specifically went to the bank and put everything under her name. I never thought they'd call her directly. If she found out the company was really bankrupt, she would never go through with this divorce. Panic set in. My palms started to sweat, and I dug my nails in so hard they hurt. Hello, is this Ms. Jessica Davis? We're calling to discuss a repayment plan. It's regarding the $100 million debt from your company's bankruptcy. Jessica was stunned. She couldn't understand how the bank knew about the fake bankruptcy story she had made up. When she didn't respond, the bank representative continued. Your husband came to see us previously and asked for our assistance. A look of understanding washed over Jessica's face. That won't be necessary. I'll pay back the 100 million myself. I've already divorced my husband. I am now the sole person in charge of the company, and I will bear all of its debts and responsibilities alone. The bank employee was shocked. Ms. Davis, are you aware that $100 million is not a small sum? It will be extremely difficult for you to repay this on your own. Perhaps you should reconsider and discuss this with your husband? Jessica was getting annoyed. It had taken so much effort to trick me into this divorce. She wasn't about to change her mind because of a phone call. No, I told you, I will not be getting back together with him. After she finished packing, I stood in her way as she tried to leave. I looked at her, channeling every ounce of acting talent I possessed. Jessica, are you really leaving? I can help you pay back the debt. As long as our family is together, there's no challenge we can't overcome. Jessica pushed my hand away, her voice firm. That's not necessary, Leo. My mind is made up. I can't ruin your life or our son's. Take care. With that, she turned and left, dragging her suitcase behind her without a single look back. My eyes welled with tears as I chased after her, watching until the car she got into disappeared from view. But she didn't know that my tears weren't for her. They were for all the years of my life I had wasted on a woman like that. When Alex came home, I didn't hide the truth from him. I told him that his mother had left. I expected him to be sad, but instead, he threw his arms around me. Daddy, don't be sad. Mommy is a bad mommy. After a moment's hesitation, he told me everything he knew. Apparently, his school had a field day, and when he asked Jessica to come, she just frowned and refused. Alex, Mommy is busy that day. Just tell your teacher you can't participate. Don't be difficult. He was disappointed, but he didn't throw a tantrum. But later that day, he saw his own mother at the field day, participating in the parent-child activities with a girl from the class next door named Christina. And that girl, Christina, did something Alex wouldn't even dare to dream of. She whined to his mom that she wanted a new game console. And his mother, who was always so cold to him, smiled at Christina with a warmth he had never seen. When I heard this, I saw red. So Jessica had been carrying on with that sleazebag and his daughter behind my back while I was busy working. She had even caused our son immense emotional pain. I pulled Alex into my arms and apologized to him over and over again. After the divorce, Jessica wasted no time moving her lover, Ryan, and his daughter into a new place. But Ryan wasn't satisfied. He wanted Jessica to propose to him in a grand gesture and throw a massive wedding. It had to be bigger and more extravagant than her wedding to me. He was better than me in every way, after all. He was younger, better looking, and he had won the love of my wife. Plus, the company would soon be his. He was on top of the world. But for some reason, Jessica didn't seem as happy after they got their marriage license. Especially when Ryan brought up wanting a wedding of the century for the umpteenth time. She couldn't help but think back to her own wedding with me. Back then, the company was struggling, actually losing money. Her parents couldn't even give them enough for basic living expenses, let alone a ring. But I didn't care. I even accepted the pop-tab ring she offered me instead. I remember smiling and telling her, "It's okay. I believe in you. I know one day I'll have the most precious ring in the world." It seemed she hadn't kept her end of the bargain. "Honey, when are we going to have our wedding? We're married now, and I don't want people to talk." Ryan's voice pulled Jessica back to the present. It was the 7th time he'd asked the same question, and she suddenly felt a wave of irritation. "The company payroll hasn't come through yet, and I just had to take out a loan to buy you that car. Where am I supposed to get the money for a wedding?" Ryan got angry, pointing out that if she hadn't given the house to me and our son, they wouldn't be stuck renting a place now. Jessica avoided the question. When she'd run into her college crush after he moved back to the country, all the old feelings came rushing back. She cheated on me, and right after that one time, Ryan told her she was pregnant. When she found out it was a girl, she was so happy she couldn't sleep. She had always desperately wanted a daughter. A daughter would be her little confidant, after all. Gradually, she grew to despise me, despise how I wasn't a real man who could make money, who could take charge. With Ryan, she felt like a proud woman again. So, Fueled by Ryan's sweet talk and her daughter Christina's wishes, she came up with a plan. She would lie to me about the company going bankrupt, put on a big show, and convince me to divorce her willingly. That way, she would get all the company shares. As for the house, she'd let that poor man have it. But now, looking at her bank account balance, she felt a knot of anxiety. Why hadn't this month's money come in yet? I knew it was only a matter of time before Jessica found out the company was truly bankrupt. And knowing her, she'd probably come crawling back to harass me. So I acted first. I found a buyer and sold the house at a low price. Coincidentally, the selling price was exactly the $120,000 I had initially invested. I didn't waste a moment. I got a new phone number. I even took Alex to the courthouse to legally change our names. With all that done, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and bought a new house in the next city over. At last, our lives could finally be stable. Meanwhile, Jessica waited and waited for the money from the company that never came. Instead, what she got were calls from debt collectors. Is this Jessica Davis? We're calling about the $100 million loan. When can you make a payment? Jessica thought it was a scam call. She'd never borrowed $100 million in her life. After the third or fourth call, she lost her temper and screamed into the phone. You damn scammers! Stop calling me. When have I ever owed $100 million? The result of her outburst was a loud knock on her door while she was taking a nap one afternoon. It wasn't until the bank representatives were standing in her living room that she realized something was seriously wrong. She shook her head. No, wait, are you friends of Leo's? This is all just a misunderstanding. I don't have any debt. Before she could finish, the bankruptcy filing and the loan agreement were shoved in her face. The words caught in her throat. Given your inability to make payments, we will be repossessing the house as collateral. Jessica stared blankly as movers started carrying out the furniture. So, the company was really bankrupt? Ryan, hearing the commotion from the bedroom, came out to see strangers carrying away his beloved TV and immediately lost it. What are you doing? Why are you taking my stuff? Are you insane? Get out. I'll have you arrested for trespassing. I swear to God. When he found out Jessica's company was really bankrupt, that she really owed $100 million, and that the house was being repossessed, Ryan's world came crashing down. His hair a mess, he rushed at Jessica. You said it was fake. You said you were just tricking your ex-husband. How could the company actually be bankrupt? I must have been cursed to ever believe you and get together with you. Jessica was silent. She had no idea how the company had actually gone bankrupt either. She suddenly thought of me. She grabbed her phone to call me, only to find the number was disconnected. She went to our old house, but new residents were already living there. It was only then that it hit her. I had known the company was bankrupt all along. A white-hot rage flared up inside her. How could that man do this? He knew the company was bankrupt, yet he agreed to the divorce and let her take on all the debt. He had pushed her into a pit of fire. The next time I saw Jessica, it was on television. In just 1 month, the vibrant, confident woman I knew had become a haggard shadow of her former self. I guess being hounded by debt collectors every day will do that to you. And on TV, she was looking for me. She cried to a national audience, telling them I had divorced her the moment the company went bankrupt. She claimed the company owed $100 million, that she was working 10 jobs a day, and that her body was breaking down from exhaustion. She painted herself as a tragic victim, twisting the truth to portray me as a coward who abandoned her at the first sign of trouble. The show went viral almost immediately, and the name Leo Davis was cursed by everyone. They saw me as a pathetic gold digger who could only share the good times, not the bad. The public outrage grew louder and louder. Yeah, this is pretty messed up. The woman supports him for years, and the second the company fails, he bails. The guy's just a leech who can't handle real life. Can't they arrest people like this? He gives men a bad name. I don't think it's technically illegal, but honestly, the death penalty feels too light. A spineless freeloader like him should be drawn and quartered. I can't even imagine the pressure she's under. Her company goes bankrupt. Her husband leaves her. She lost everything overnight. The internet moves fast. My information was doxed. Everyone found out I had changed my name, which only made more people hate me. Once my info was out, Jessica found my new house. She pounded on the door. "Leo, get your ass out here. Do you have any idea what you've done to me?" When I opened the door, I just asked her what she wanted. Jessica just laughed. "What do I want? The company is bankrupt and 100 million in debt, and you got off scot-free. You not only divorced me, but you took a house with you. Do you have any idea that all this debt has fallen on me? How am I ever supposed to pay it off?" I frowned. "You were the one who told me we were bankrupt. You were the one who asked for a divorce." I agreed. "And now you're blaming me for it?" Taken aback, Jessica stuck her chin out and yelled, "So what if I asked for a divorce? You should have tried to talk me out of it." I had to laugh at her shamelessness. Talk her out of it? Hadn't I tried? I called her friends. I practically begged her on my hands and knees not to go through with it. And what did she do? She just kept shoving the divorce papers in my face. Now that her lie had become reality, now that the company was really bankrupt, she was the one who was unhappy. Seeing my silence, Jessica seemed to think she had the upper hand. "All right, I won't make it too hard for you. For old time's sake, you have to pay back the 100 million for me, and you have to give me the money you got from selling the house. Then we'll be even. Otherwise, you can just enjoy being hated by the entire country." I refused her ridiculous demands and used a mop to shove her out the door. I never thought she'd post the security footage of me chasing her away with a mop online. In the video, I look like a monster, brandishing a mop and telling a woman to get lost. Jessica gets hit a few times before she finally leaves. "Everyone, I'm at my wit's end. I found my ex-husband and begged him to give me back the house my mother left me. But he chased me away with a broom. I really can't take it anymore. Life is so hard. I don't understand how someone can change so much. We used to be so happy." Jessica wailed during her live stream while thanking people for sending her virtual gifts. "Thank you for the gifts, you're all such kind people. I'll never forget you. Oh, could some kind soul out there send me one of those big ones?" Some viewers weren't buying it. They asked in the chat why her parents' house was in my name. Jessica, of course, didn't dare admit she had willingly signed it over to me and just ignored the question. By the end of one live stream, she had raked in a surprising amount of money. And thanks to her slander, I had become a public enemy. Countless people got my phone number and called me with threats every day. Some even called in the middle of the night, screaming at me. My photo was photoshopped to look like a funeral portrait, complete with a wreath, and posted online. My address was leaked. People showed up at my house to scream at me, scrawling "drop dead" on my door. Even my son was recognized at school by parents, teachers, and classmates. I heard that's Leo Davis's kid. Yeah, looks just like his dad. Probably got his dad's shameless genes too. Do you know how much your dad hurt your mom? And you're just acting like nothing's wrong. You're such an ungrateful brat. When Alex came home covered in dirt again, I snapped. I posted a single photo online. In the picture, Ryan has his arm around Jessica, and Christina is sitting on Ryan's shoulders. Perfect family portrait. I actually had Ryan to thank for this. He had sent it to me himself along with a few taunting messages. Things like, "Jessica never loved you. Why are you so pathetic and clingy? She took me and my daughter out again today. You'll never have that." The photo quickly went viral. Some netizens started to see what was really going on. "Who's that guy? That's not Leo Davis." Judging by how they're standing, I'm guessing that's Jessica's lover and their illegitimate daughter. No way. Jessica cheated? Others suspected the photo was photoshopped. I didn't say anything. Instead, I released a video. The footage showed Jessica handing me the divorce papers and the company transfer agreement, telling me about the bankruptcy. It showed me desperately begging her to work through it together, not to get a divorce. But Jessica just kept saying she didn't want to drag me down. The scene cut to me asking her best friend to talk her out of it. But her friend had the same attitude as Jessica. "Leo, she's made up her mind. She doesn't want to hold you and your son back. Just give her what she wants." Next, it showed Jessica, resolute in her decision, packing her bags and leaving. And me, with tears in my eyes, chasing after her in a heart-wrenching scene. The video ended with a photo of Jessica and Ryan holding up their marriage certificate. Now everyone was confused. Wait, what? I thought the guy was the one who wanted a divorce because he couldn't handle tough times. Why does it look like the woman was pushing for it? I'm lost. So she was the one who initiated the divorce? Why is she slandering him now? Then, I posted the contracts Jessica had made me sign. They clearly stated that the company went to her, and the house went to me. At that point, someone claiming to be Jessica's best friend also came forward and posted a public clarification. It was Sarah. She faced the camera and bowed deeply. Hello, everyone. I am Jessica's best friend, and I was the one who convinced Leo to divorce her. To be honest, I was against it at first until Jessica came to me. She told me her company wasn't really bankrupt, that she just wanted an excuse to divorce her husband so she could be with another man, and she asked me to help her out. But now, seeing the undeserved suffering Leo and his son are going through, my conscience couldn't take it anymore. I had to come forward. With her own best friend exposing her, the whole truth was out. The devoted victim act was a sham. The woman was a stone-cold cheater. Talk about karma. She lies to her husband about the company going bankrupt, and then it actually goes bankrupt. It's like a revenge novel in real life. Serves her right. A cheater who can't even keep her story straight. People like her should just disappear. Jessica panicked. She tried to play the victim again, but she was cornered with no way out. All the evil she had done was coming back to bite her. The netizens who realized they'd been deceived were furious, and they unleashed all their anger on Jessica. Jessica couldn't take it. She came to me, crying and apologizing, saying she had just made a mistake, that she wasn't a bad person. Leo, I'm really truly sorry. Let's get back together. I just smiled at her. She looked as pathetic as a stray dog. In your dreams, Jessica. Seeing that I wouldn't budge, she tried to use our son. What about Alex? You don't want Alex to grow up without a mother, do you? Alex, who had been standing behind me, stepped forward. He didn't say a word, didn't even look at her. Dad, I don't have a mother. I only have you. To pay back the bank, Jessica started borrowing money from everywhere. She was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and the hole just kept getting bigger. And the loan sharks she got involved with were not good people. They threatened to ship her off to Africa if she couldn't pay. Jessica was terrified. She begged Ryan for help, but why would he ever be willing to help? When Jessica realized he wouldn't, she snapped, grabbing a knife and stabbing both Ryan and Christina to death. So that's it, huh? You two just thought you could use me as your personal ATM? I never should have let you two vermin fool me. Later, Jessica was sentenced to death. Before her execution, she said she wanted to see me one last time. I just waved the notion away. I didn't go. Why would I see her? She didn't cherish what she had. And now she's sorry? Not a chance. I took my son and we traveled all over the country. I once asked him if he resented me for leaving his mother. He just shook his head, took my hand, and hugged me tight. He didn't say anything, but I understood what he meant.